If I had to start again in 3D, this is exactly what I'd do. I'd start off by picking my niche, and I know this is the advice that everyone gives but nobody follows, so I'll tell you why I believe this matters. When I started as a 3D artist, that was my identity. I was a 3D artist and I did architectural visualization, product renders, some animation, and even game assets. And I said yes to everything. And the result was my portfolio looked like a car boot sale, and it had a bit of everything, but it wasn't cohesive. And I couldn't actually tell you who my ideal client was. It was basically anyone that needed 3D, and my portfolio didn't have a clear message about what I was actually good at. And that resulted in me staying stuck competing against everyone else who called themselves a 3D artist. And when an architect was looking for visuals, they needed someone who specialized in architectural visualization. But my portfolio had some arc viz next to characters, next to some renders of headphones, and it really didn't scream, I know exactly what you need. So when picking a niche, think about what type of 3D work you enjoy most and what industries have money to pay for that type of work, and where do these two overlap. And then I would spend 10 times the amount of time I did researching my niche before I even began building a portfolio. So this is easier than ever with tools like Deep Research, which you can access in ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini. And one thing I used to think was, oh, what if I pick the wrong niche? And the thing is, you don't have to stick with this niche forever. You can evolve, and my portfolio certainly evolved from those initial ArcViz renders into automotive, into product visualization, and a lot more. But you need to pick one now, because every decision after this is going to flow from this one. So the type of portfolio you make, the outreach you do, and your pricing and positioning. All of this depends on knowing who you serve, and you need to be crystal clear, because this is going to be what you tell everyone you do. So in the past, I've done work for appliance brands that needed lifestyle shots for campaigns. So I create campaign-ready visuals for appliance brands. I know the space and I know what clients want. I know there's money there, but your niche might be product visualization for consumer brands or CGI for automotive marketing. Just pick one that makes sense for you. And if you want a clear step-by-step plan for what to focus on next, I've put together a free roadmap for 3D artists. You can grab it using the link in the description. Next, the portfolio. If you have images, then great, but the next thing I would do is make a list of at least 10 ideal clients. I would go deep into what visual content they use in advertising on their website, and I'd make a mood board. You can use something like Miro for this. The idea here is to get a feel for what look your clients want. We want our work not to look out of place on their website or in their campaigns. So this can involve matching their lighting or creating lookup tables that are similar to theirs. And maybe it's just post-production, maybe it's the camera angles and their styles. And then building a portfolio. There are so many cool ways to make a portfolio now, and you can even code them with AI, and you can have all these fancy buttons. But really, at this stage, it's just a distraction. Just because you can, it doesn't mean we should. And at this stage, we just want to ship fast and get clients. So we don't need a fancy custom website that takes you 3 months to build and never gets finished. I like Behance, but we won't be using that for our final portfolio. The reason for this is because places like Behance and ArtStations are more like communities where people like and follow. And that's great for the ego, but it's terrible for business. Because when a potential client lands on Behance, they're going to see your work surrounded by hundreds of other artists, and there's navigation pulling them away from you. There's distraction everywhere, and it's full of your competition. But we are going to use Behance as the base, so what we can do is upload our projects there, and I already have some images set up on Behance. And then what we can do is use Adobe Portfolio. This just gives you a clean, simple website. You can put your custom URL and your own branding. There are no distractions, so when a client clicks it, all they see is you and only you. It's included in your Creative Cloud subscription. This video is not sponsored by Adobe, but if you want to sponsor me, you know where I am. It's very simple to use. There's no coding, just drag and drop, and you can get this up in under an hour. Then here's what I would put on the site. On my homepage, I'd have a clear statement for what I do and for who. So not, hi, I'm Jake, I love 3D. Campaign ready visuals for appliance brands. Then I'd add my projects. So if you want to know more about what to put in your portfolio, I have a video that I'll link at the end of this video. Just make sure that these images are consistent and high quality and focused on your niche. You're better off having 4 strong portfolio pieces in one niche than 20 pieces across 5 different ones. And then we want an about contact page. And the whole goal of this portfolio is not for people to look at your work, it is for them to take action and to book a call or reach out and email you. And we want to have a contact page with a simple form. Even better, it would be a book a call link We want to have a photo of ourselves to show that we're a real person, and that is it. Don't overthink it. We can always add more later, but the point here is to have a professional home for our work that we can control. Now we want to have a professional email address. This one is small, but it matters. If you're sending emails from jakethegamer2004@gmail.com, nobody is hiring that email address for a big project. Get a domain name. It can be your name, it can be your business name, whatever, but set up jake@yourdomain.com and it's done. Google Workspace costs around $10 a month, and that is worth every penny to look like a professional rather than a hobbyist. And this sounds really basic, but I'd say like half of the 3D artists I speak to are still operating from a Gmail or Hotmail address, and they wonder why their outreach is getting ignored. So now we have a niche, we have a portfolio, and we have an email address set up. The next step is to build your outreach system, and most 3D artists don't even have one. They post and they hope for work to come in, and maybe, rarely, when they're desperate, they do outreach in huge panic bursts, and then they stop the second they land a project. And when that project ends, the money dries up, and then the panic cycle starts again. So what I do at this stage is set up a system that I can run every day that takes like 30 minutes, and here is what I'd set up. I'd start a Google Sheet or a Notion document, and I'd have columns for company name, contact person, email address, what they do, the date you reached out, and then the status, which can be no reply, replied, booked, etc. This is your very basic CRM. You don't need fancy software. The simpler the better. You just need a list that you're actually going to use. Fancy software is a distraction from what you should be doing. Then we make a targeted list, and this is based on your niche. Who are the companies that need your work? If you're in ArchViz, that's architectural firms, property developers, interior designers, real estate agents. Go find 50 of them, then the outreach itself. I've done a whole video on this, but the short version is make it about them, not about you. Don't send your portfolio and pray. Send a specific observation about their business and explain how your work connects to a result they actually care about. Short, personal, and to the point. In Future Proof, we cover outreach, but a key principle is you need to do the daily outreach. It needs to be tracked. It needs to be personalized. 5 personalized outreach messages beat 50 copy and paste templates every time. So set a target. It could be 10 phone calls a day. It could be 5 emails a day. But do this 5 days a week and track the numbers. And then after a month, you're going to know that for every 100 times you've reached out, you got 10 replies and you got 2 calls booked. And having this clarity on your numbers is how you build a business. If you're still stuck turning your 3D skills into consistent income, inside of Future Proof 3D Artist, we work together for 12 weeks to build your portfolio, land clients, and build a business that actually works. You can learn more and book a free call with me using the link in the description. Then we just set a daily schedule and we stick to it. When I started working on my own, my schedule was wake up whenever, check emails for an hour, do some pretty work, watch the tutorials, maybe a bit of outreach if I fancied it. And then I wondered why I was making no money. So here's what I do right now. I would block out the first 90 minutes of the day for outreach and business development. This happens before you even open any 3D software. The business side comes first because it's the part you always want to skip, and it's the part that actually generates revenue. Inside of Future Proof, we always talk about eating the frog first. So if the only thing you have to do that day is eat a frog, just get it done first thing. The middle part of your day can be on productions and client projects, portfolio pieces, and whatever needs creating. This is your craft time, so protect it. And then at the end of the day, say the last 30 to 60 minutes can be admin, emails, invoices, updating your CRM and planning tomorrow. Then you can shut down your machine and you are done. The biggest shift I ever made in my career was after I read a book called Turning Pro. And it basically meant that from then on, I started treating my 3D as a business and not a side hustle. And this meant showing up at the same time every day, doing the work they needed doing and not just the work I wanted to do, having systems that run whether I was feeling inspired or not. I know it's tempting to skip the boring stuff and just start making cool renders, and I've done that, and I skipped all of this, and I spent years catching up, fixing problems that would never have existed if I just built the foundations first. So looking at what I just said, it's not actually that hard. So don't be like me in 2012, be smarter than that. If this stuff is interesting for you and where you're at, then definitely check out Future Proof 3D Artist. We also have a free community you can join to get amongst other 3D artists and talk about this stuff. There's a link in the description, and here is that portfolio video.